Can you hear the geese? I can see them. 4 geese flying that way. That's a sure sign of spring. So, cheers to that. They're flying over there to the fjord. But anyway, I would like to talk about knives in this video, and it's a requested video. I have been asked if I could talk a little bit about my recommendations for bushcraft knives. So I would say this is a video for those of you who are getting into bushcraft maybe. If you have been doing bushcraft for a while, you already have your knife and your preferences and your opinions. We all have. So what I'm going to say in this video is more, what I'm going to say in this video is more for those of you who hasn't already decided on what kind of knife you like the best and so on, and you're wondering what kind of bushcraft knife you should buy. So I have some knives with me here. I have many knives. That seems to be the rule rather than the exception among bushcrafters, that you acquire knives, and a lot of them. So I have some expensive knives here, and I have some very, very cheap knives here. And we'll take a closer look at these while I talk. Okay, so let me just start quite randomly here. Now, what I'm holding here now is a Bakko Laplander. It's a typical Swedish Scandinavian cheap forest knife, and these knives have been around for decades. And I remember when I was a kid, that's a few decades ago, these knives were considered to be the best, and this was before you know, the popularity of the survival Rambo type knives. The Bakko Laplander is a cheap knife and a very good knife. And then I think, actually, I might be wrong, but I think it's still Mora who makes the Bakko Laplander. So it's really a Mora knife. Let me know in the comments if you think I'm wrong there. And here is a Mora, the cheapest Mora, and it's quite similar to the Laplander. It's, what should I say? My son uses this knife. It's very safe. It has a finger guard, and it's just a good all-round knife. And I would not hesitate to bring this into the woods with me. It's just a very good design. And so now let's see, so I don't forget any of these. Yeah, this is my oldest knife. It's Mora, I don't know what it's called right now, basic, I don't know. I kind of made some mistakes sharpening this knife a long time ago, but it has a Scandi grind, and just let me tell you why it's such an advantage to have a Scandi grind. It's because when you sharpen, they are much easier to sharpen. So you put your knife against the whetstone, or the whetstone, the sharpening stone, against the knife, and you put it flat against the bevel. And if you're out in the field, I recommend then you will have a smaller whetstone, and for safety reasons just use circular motions. And if you're in your workshop, you move your knife in straight motions against the whetstone. That way But the point here is that it has no secondary bevel, so as long as you keep it flat against the whetstone, you will keep the angle. That makes it much easier. Okay, let's just move up. This is knife I have been using the most. This is the TBS Boar with a carbon steel blade. I put the scales, the wooden scales, on myself. It's bog oak, and yeah, I have been using another knife for a while, so I notice now that this needs a bit of oil. So I'll put some linseed oil on the scales here when I get home. It has a high carbon steel blade, but it's quite easy to sharpen. It keeps the edge well. It has a 90-degree spine. All bushcraft knives should have that, because then you can use them to throw a spark with a ferro rod, which seems to be something that bushcrafters enjoy doing. There's this joke: if you show a bushcrafter a lighter or a match, he won't know what that is, because we don't know what that is. We can't light our fires with a lighter. You know, it's it makes us sad. So, but okay, here's a Castrum. I think is this the number 10? I haven't used it much, but it's a very good knife. It doesn't fit my hand well. The handle is a little bit thin up here by the blade, but it's a very good knife, very well made. And here's a TBS Boar with a stainless steel blade, a very thick blade. I've used this a lot as well. The thickness of the blade does not hinder carving, I would say. I've used it for a lot of carving. This is the Mora Frost Lapprander 90. Good old knife, and it has a very short edge here, but it's a good little knife. You can choke up on the blade, and yeah, I like this knife. It's a bit too small for bushcrafting. That's just my personal opinion. And yeah, hope I'm not. Yes, this is the TBS. I use a lot of TBS knives. It's just I'm not sponsored by them or anything. It's just I like their knives. They listen to bushcrafters. They are bushcrafters themselves, and they make good knives. And this is the prototype Puko, and so this is my favorite at the moment. Okay, and I just brought something different as well. This is Cold Steel SRK. It's a bit bigger. I've used it not much, I would say. It's not for bushcraft. I think some call it a rescue knife, tactical knife. It's a bit different. It's a bit too, I don't know, aggressive for my taste, and it's a bit too plasticky also for my taste. Speaking of plastic, the Mora, I would not hesitate to recommend a Mora knife. If you're starting out, get a Mora. They are cheap and they are very good. One of the guys who competed in the TV reality show Alone, he brought a Mora, and he did well. He was the third or fourth third or fourth place in the second or third season. So Moras are very good, cheap, and well. But here's the thing: they are made of the handles are made out of plastic, and there are like a million knives out there exactly like your knife. Then, so most people tend to prefer wooden handles, bushcrafters that is. There is no reason why a wooden handle is better, but I don't like plastic, so I go for wooden handles. And then, you know, your knife, there is no other knife in the world exactly like your knife. What else? Stainless steel or carbon steel, depends on your area. If you're in a very wet, humid area, maybe you should consider stainless steel. There are large differences in the quality of stainless. This knife here, I have never, if you told me that this is carbon steel, I would have thought so, because it just holds the edge very well. Stainless steel tends to be a bit softer though. Yeah, 90-degree spine so that you can use a ferro rod to throw sparks. Scandi grind, go for Scandi grind. And Scandi grind gives you the best feedback to your hand when you're carving. So that's another advantage. The length of the knife blade, I don't know. It depends on the area. If you follow the 3-tool rule, like we do here in Scandinavia mostly, you bring an axe, a saw, a knife. You don't need a very big knife. But if you're in other climates, other areas, you might bring only a knife. And then you want to use your knife for chopping as well, and then you need another design with a longer blade. Start with a handle. That's my advice. Go for knives that fit your hand. So if you can, try the knife in your hand before you buy it. Having said that, the design of the Moras, it's very clever. I haven't met one person who is not comfortable using a Mora. They just seem to fit all hands. So that's, yeah, that's awesome. Okay, my battery died in the middle here, so I hope maybe you noticed, but that's why my fire died out here. Not died out, my fire died. I had to sort out, find a new battery and everything. I seem to be forgetting something. Okay, the difference between a full tang knife and a hidden tang knife. This is a full tang knife. It's made out of a solid piece of metal. The metal goes straight through. And it has scales on the side to make the handle. A hidden tang knife has a thinner piece of metal inside the handle. Okay. Most bushcrafters go for the full tang option. I do as well normally. That being said, I can't say that hidden tang knives are any less good for bushcraft. Full tang knives are more, it's a more solid construction, so it's up to you. It's like you can never have too many knives, some say. I don't know. Okay, I think that's all for now. I'll see you in a few days in the next video. Have a wonderful day. Cheers. Bye bye.